was that our board meetings used to go on, and I said, let's do a board meeting where we have to be accountable to time because we got a general meeting gathering right afterwards. But we kind of allow ourselves to do an hour and 15 minutes, knowing that we're telling you guys 6 o'clock, so that you'll come, start gathering, start connecting, start getting food, and then when our meeting's over, we can just pop in and you guys have already kind of got it going. So just kind of want to say thank you for doing that. And we have something kind of special tonight. Joan Horshaw, who I took the place of as president, we had the idea to do it for one of our, we started it out doing like farmers market, to do a paint by number. We thought it would be really fun to do a paint by number and let the community paint it. So Linda Dibo went and looked all around Fenton, and she took the photograph of what we were going to submit to the paint by number company and have them turn it into a paint by number. And I don't know if any of you have ever done that before, but you can have the choice of adding a few colors or a lot of colors. And just like you know, the more colors you add, the more realistic it's going to end up. But also, unbeknownst to us, the tinier the spots to paint become when you add more detail. So what sounded like a really great plan was still a great plan, because I think the public support for it was still fantastic. I remember even one of the police officers coming up to paint it at the farmer's market and said, oh my gosh, this is a great idea. But what soon started to transpire is people got a little messy and they weren't staying in the lines, and we were realizing it wasn't going to turn out the way we were hoping it would turn out. So about that time we did our Spring Expressions event, and Joan wasn't able to really move around and do a whole bunch, but I said, Joan, why don't you stay with the paint by number? And you can invite people to paint on it, and then you can paint. So Joan started painting that, and I said, you know, Joan, you really look like you're enjoying this paint by number. Why don't we bring it to your house and have you finish it? So tonight's the unveiling.
That's how she wrote you into it.
Yeah. Tonight's the unveiling. It is absolutely beautiful. Joan took some liberties, and she didn't stick with the plan, and those little tiny spots that were there.
Did she paint outside the lines?
She went outside the lines, and she scraped off with Joan was able to recreate this gorgeous picture of the Shiawassee River down at the rivers, I don't know what they call that spot. At the mill pond, yeah. And it is absolutely gorgeous with the community center in the background there. So we don't know exactly, Linda Dibo had a great idea of maybe rotating it to businesses. Maybe we could have it move around and get a plaque made for it. And then there was also a suggestion that maybe we have a contest and see if we can come up with a name for it. Have people submit entries for it. But anyways, Joan wasn't able to stay tonight, and I said, well, you gotta stay long enough for the unveiling of this beautiful.
That's beautiful, nice job.
Bravo.
In the meantime, what did you do at your house?
Yeah.
So it's safe, because our storeroom's getting more crowded all the
I
time.
understand that.
And for those who don't know, Joan was our president for 25 years.
Well, yeah. I don't know if it was 25, but
It was.
I
don't
count it.
Yeah, it was. All right.
So,
I'll take your word.
everybody keep eating, and I'll just give you a little demonstration and go over a few things, but I also want to get this to Joanne. So Joanne, this never got picked up. So what I thought, you're not losing my mind, are you? So the person that was supposed to pick it up didn't pick it up. So I went and picked it up, because that's where my mother-in-law is on Sunday. So it was safely there and being enjoyed still by the residents. And I was glad that you made two that looked so similar, so I would have felt terrible if I didn't get exposure at the event, but your chicken and that one are so harmonious together, so.
There was one person that said she thought mine was her favorite. So that made me feel really good.
Yes, we were just talking about
Really
that.
struggled with this. Oh, it came out great.
So, greetings, introductions, I hope you're getting to know each other. I love that you're wearing name tags, because I think we really do need to start using each other's names. Food and drinks. I also wanted kind of, I guess the Peepers and Quackers, we just debriefed, but anybody that was involved in that, it kind of got into it, it got bigger and bigger, and it was probably more aggressive than, when someone, I think it was Linda, you said, you found 87 businesses that will put one, and I said, well, that was the easy part. It was getting them to all the businesses, and the hardest part, you know, live and learn, is something like this takes a while to catch on. And I think if we ever did this again, I would leave it up for a month. The work was getting it up. And if we would have had it up, and we realized that having, some people just like old-fashioned paper. If we would have had paper ballots at each site where people could have run around and filled in the numbers with paper, and then maybe taken them home and then inputted them on their computer, or took a picture of it if they really couldn't do the computer part, maybe we would have got more people playing, because the people that played loved it. And the people that showed up Friday night who had played said it was so much fun, and the prizes from the businesses were absolutely incredible. I mean, something like, you know, they kept saying, well, what do we have to do? And I said, you just have to be a host. You have to let one of these little ducks or chickens sit in your place. And it was funny, some of the businesses thought they had to hide it, and they were really giving people a hard time. So I think it was one of the businesses, well, what do you mean? Aren't you supposed to look for it? You know, and they were like making it hard and hiding it. And like some of the businesses that were really busy would say like, should I put it back here? And I go, no. I said, take my word for it. You're gonna be really busy, and you're not gonna wanna have to take time to go tell somebody where it is. You wanna just put it out. They're gonna have to track down all these locations and get the number. It doesn't have to be hard to find at your business. But all in all, it was fabulous, and there were some really excited people Friday night who picked up wonderful prizes. And a lot of the businesses, even though they didn't get a lot of traffic, that people that came to look on the search and find, when we went to pick up the Peepers and Quackers, they go, let us know what the next thing you're doing. So I think we made some really good community partners. And I think it was Sandy who made me think, you know, because I was kind of disappointed that we couldn't get people. And she goes, nobody knows but us. Because from the social media look of the thing, and even last night I went to a meeting where there was like 50 people in the room. She goes, how'd your project go? Because it looked like it was everywhere. And so,
Linda, what was Chip from Sawyer's, what was his question? He called me in Mexico.
I think he wanted to buy your piece. He paid $50 for yours.
Oh, he did?
Yes, he did.
Because he's asking me questions and I'm like on vacation.
'Cause I
don't know
know.
what, I didn't
It's
really-
probably like, how does he physically get it?
I don't know,
No,
because
yeah, I
he
think
never,
he
I
had
never
it.
talked to him. I took, that number you gave me, I
Yeah.
called.
Yeah.
Nobody answered, I left a message. So
So
then
he
I
did
thought,
pick it up from him.
I'll text, and I said, hey, I'm trying to get a hold of you, this is Linda Moore, I heard you got a hold of Pam Berger, and you wanna talk to me, so what do you want?
All I got out of our conversation, because I was sitting at the pool, was something about bidding.
See,
How
he
do I
wanted
bid,
it.
or?
He wanted it, because his bid sheet was all filled in, and then he took a second sheet
Oh.
and wrote $50 on it and put it on top.
Oh, okay.
So I think it was
He made his own bid sheet.
all about
That's funny.
his
Okay.
getting
Uh-huh.
that piece.
I'm like, I'm
Okay.
sorry, I can't answer these questions, I don't know.
So I called Sue Phillips today, who's the Lions Club, because I gave her all everything to do with selling them. I said, there you go. And you contact these people and you run down the money. And I called her today though, and I said, hey, just make sure that Chip gets his duck, because Chip wants his duck, and he's willing to give you $50 for it. So it went really well.
Also, Linda, I think we should give a big hand to Melissa at
Oh, yes.
Artistic Interiors.
She did a fabulous
If you've
job.
not been in her shop, she does a fabulous job, and she
She
supports the
hosted,
art
second
council.
year in a row she's hosted, because she did the Calaveras when we did them in November, I guess, yeah, second year, November. And then she was so gracious, because it was late. By the time we got everything cleaned up and out of there, it was like 8:30 at night.
Mhm.
And,
She is always busy, I know, because I teach classes there.
yeah,
Yeah.
she's such a great hostess to have us. And we'll often, like, the people that have picked their prizes up, I can go over there and put them in her store and tell people to go pick them up at her store, and she's always willing to help us with that. So that's nice, because how am I gonna get people to get those prizes? And she's open all day, so that's nice.
More exposure for it. Absolutely.
Ice cream? Oh,
Yes.
Mel, they didn't
What?
get the ice cream. Would you go down to the
Yep.
lounge? 'Cause
I'll
you're
go with you.
Yep. So you guys pick up the ice cream, because I don't wanna take that home. Save room for ice cream. That was left over from the, Empty Bowls project. We had purchased too much ice cream, so that's what we decided we'd do it this one. So the gift shop is still going on. We just realized we haven't been posting that on social media, so it's not still generating enough attention. But I think it's a positive thing for the art council to have a gift shop, an online gift shop. So think about any art you might have that's under $100. If you wanna sell something, like some of these ducks and chicks we could have put on the gift shop, we still could for Sue. But if you have, for $3, you can post a photo of something you wanna sell, and if it's, the price that you're asking is under $100, you're only out $3. Because you arrange to, if the person wants to buy it, they contact you. We put your contact information, so it's kinda like Facebook Marketplace. They would contact you, you would decide where you wanna meet them, and you would sell your piece to them, and we would take no commission on that. We're only charging $3 for the post online, which is, we're thinking we just leave it up. There's no reason to take it down. Once Sally's put them in, that's the work. And if we got so many that we thought it was getting too crowded or something, we could do categories. We could do jewelry, and we could do watercolors, and we could have categories where people fiber art, and people could click on a category and open up a gift shop. So we're planning on keeping that going, even though we haven't been generating sales. Now, same thing with Beale Street, we talked about that. We've had 2 90-day exhibits at Beale Street. So Annie just approached, what about, do we wanna keep doing it? And I just feel it's positive, that when people go, I was at a meeting last night at Beale Street, our art was all on the back wall. So I figure we should still do that, and it will be nice if we get a sale, if eventually somebody goes in there and buys one of the pieces. But I don't have art there, but for those of you that do, even if you don't make a sale, it's positive that you have art hanging in a public display that people can see. And if we
Can
do-
the artists that have art there, can they have like a business card there?
Yeah.
Attached, so, maybe that person who's shopping or looking at stuff doesn't want that particular piece, but they might wanna contact the artist.
I wouldn't have a problem with that. What I would have, and Mel is not here, but like from someone who has a resale store in Holly, and Steve used to own one, Steve, you're there. So what we wouldn't want you to do is to make a deal on the side to sell the artwork and then not have us get the commission.
Well,
Because it's a lot of work for
Make it
Annie to put the
understood.
art.
You could make
But
it
if they sell something else because they like your work,
Right.
that's okay.
Right.
But the expectation is that if you sell the piece that you have on display at Beale Street, that our council should get the commission so that we can pay Annie for doing all the work, because we were talking about that. We should be able to give her something for all the work of putting all that art up.
It would be cool if like at Beale Street, sort of bouncing off of that, if along with the artwork, there's like a picture and then like an about the artist
Yeah.
there. I think that would be good. I think also it would just generally be good, like with the gift shop and like the website kind of having, here's our artists and I think maybe putting aside at some point.
Well, I
for
think you
members
just
to-
hit on something too, because you haven't been at all our board meetings, and now you are. So our dream is that all of our members would have a bio on our website. So even if it was on your business card, people could go to the FAC webpage and then they could pull up the bio of the artist and how to contact them. So your contact information would be in your bio, and your bio would be housed on our webpage. Because we really think that would be nice for people to be able to open up our webpage. So I think for brevity, and because people don't want to read a lot, like it would have to be 100 words or less, or you link it to something longer if you have more, that would be outside. But if we could get a photo of you as artists, so think about this, all of you in this room.
It would
If
be
you
cool
could
to
do your,
organize a day where we did some photos and
Yeah.
people needed them, you could pay like $25 or something.
so if you have a photo of yourself and you have a couple pieces of your artwork, so people would have an idea of what you do, then Candace, where's Candace? Candace was, and we've been waiting to start those bios, right? And I think that's how simple we thought it should be, 100 words.
on that one,
We kind of just haven't had anybody, even the board members, haven't really taken the time to do it. But 100-word little, tell about you and what kind of art you do, a picture of yourself, and I think we limited it to like 2 pieces of your work to give a sample of what your work
Picture
was.
of yourself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'd love to start putting those on, and those could be linked on your business card. You could say, see our bio on that webpage.
How can they be linked?
How can you what?
How can they be linked?
You would have something that says, or maybe we would have a list of all the artists in that show with the bios attached.
So how do we get that to you then?
Oh, you send it to Sally on our webpage. So if somebody's ready with their bio, they can send it to you on the Fenton.
Just info@fentonartscouncil.com and I'll.
Sally will pass it on to Candace and Melanie to do it.
All right, can I interrupt?
Yep,
I'm gonna scoop ice cream, you guys put your toppings on. Sally's got the, so.
and there's
just make
chocolate,
it
right?
quicker,
There's
huh?
Hershey's and there's whipped cream, right?
Yeah, there's Hershey's, there's whipped cream, and there's wonderful sweets, so we all need
There's
to
fruit
eat
up
them.
there, still, somebody might wanna put fruit on their ice cream.
Cookies, donuts,
Yeah.
breads, so
So-
don't be shy, cause
What?
once this is
So
melted.
that's just a perk.
Yeah, a bio? I think it's a perk for the art council. We wanna see who are the wonderful people that belong to us, you know? I just think we should, the more we can do for you guys, my question was when we started doing this gathering meeting, is why would you wanna be on the art council? I said, we need to start pulling the members together at these meetings and find out ideas from you of what you're looking for. Are you looking for workshops? I think we heard loudly that you wanted a place to sell your work. So we're trying to do the gallery, the gift shop, and we're gonna do the photo show, and, we could do more with that.
So you benefit from the gallery and the online thing. I would think you should benefit from putting our bio on.
I do, so that's what I mean. So as an organization like the Fenton Arts Council, if somebody from Grand Blanc, and they have been paying attention, because I've been bumping into people from Grand Blanc's Art Council or somewhere, and they said, wow, you guys have a lot going on in Fenton. Well, they're seeing our social media posts, but our webpage is how we show the world what we do.
So on
if
the
we have a
webpage, is
bio-
there a place for, if there could be a place for artist bios, is what
Yes.
you're saying, member
Yes.
bios?
That will be a section on our webpage, and it does make us, if people can look on there and say, look at the artists that the Fenton Arts Council has on their membership, and look at the kind of art they do, I think that would be super positive.
And we can highlight it on our social media, like, every other week or once a month, like, to highlight.
Yeah,
it.
that's what we wanted to do, a featured artist. We wanted to start featuring me one at a time, once those bios are done.
Well, it's all good, but what I'm thinking, a financial benefit for their council, like, okay, because I did my bio and you're putting that on, and somebody gets on that and contacts me and says, oh, I want to buy something, and I know it came through that, I think I should give you a percentage of that sale.
Well, that's nice of you, but
No, but I'm thinking,
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I don't know how-
it's the same thing as if I'm,
At the
at
art
Beale
show.
Street, or I'm selling on the other things. I mean, if that customer says, oh, I saw this here, and I'm gonna work with them, I mean, I just
I think
would,
that's something.
because I owe you an obligation of giving you some sort of percentage.
I think that we should bring that up at one of our meetings, but we should also approach other art councils to see how they handle such a thing.
That's just me.
No, when we done the show at Fenton Village Players, we did all the art there. Fenton Village Players, I believe we got 10%.
For hanging it in their gallery.
Well, isn't there the wall in the,
Yeah,
in the?
yeah, which is same thing, we're getting commission on the Beale Street stuff, if
Okay.
it's sold.
Yeah.
So it'd be the
But he's
same
talking
thing.
about if the
Why don't
bio,
you
if our
get
bio,
paid?
if
Yeah,
your
I
bio
think
is
somebody-
something.
And if you call me and say you saw my bio
What do you want to do?
on this,
I
and you
just- I
see
got
my
an
work, and you buy something, I just think
Yep.
I should owe them a commission.
Yeah.
And you call me.
You do by being our
because you
member, you pay our
knocked
membership.
in
that's what I was gonna
somewhere
say,
else,
what
you picked up my
membership
car.
is.
It might be part
Or
of just being a
Maybe,
member.
Yeah.
But
That's
Melanie,
just my thought.
Melanie has an
maybe
idea.
add
Okay,
a
so I
fee
know
on
some
every
of you
year to have
have
the bio
written
up on there,
bios,
like
correct?
$5 extra
All
or
right.
something.
So what if
Yeah.
you think that, at
Just
our
keep it
next
simple.
meeting, we have those of you that have written a bio, maybe guide us through the ones who hasn't. And then at least we would have this many bios done.
Yeah, so that'll be your homework for next meeting, because if we, I don't think I got to that yet, but if we can't meet here in June, because this is under construction, this
Yes.
building,
Yes.
we are thinking about, one of the possibilities is maybe we'll meet at Beale Street,
Yeah.
right in the gallery room. And that means we won't be bringing food, you guys would be expected to order off the menu. And then that would be a nice thing to do at a place like Beale Street.
And then it's no art projects or anything, it's just us doing a writing project.
And if we have to stay through the summer, because that might be, another idea Linda had was the discussion of a piece of art. We could do that at Beale Street. People could bring a piece of art, we could have a talk about what people do, what kind of art they do, which is related to your bio.
Or the process.
Yeah, the process, which is related to what you are as an artist and who you are. So that kind of builds us there. I'm not gonna go into much on this, just update, we're still trying to get the artist who created the murals at the elementaries to get us the story and do the field trip on that. We have not, she's had a death in the family. And the fireplace, we are still working on, trying to save that, as they're starting, they're gonna take down that part of the building. So, the last thing is the garden spinner. So, with this, we're doing 4 farmer markets, family night. I love partnerships, so you see all these partners I just made with all these businesses. But for the first farmer's market, last year at the Spring Expressions, we partnered with the Open Gate Garden Club and Goodwill. Goodwill saved us mugs and teacups and teapots, and we made little planting gardens, like out of the teapots in the gardens. And so we're gonna do that again at the farmer's market. The Open Gate Garden Club is coming, they're getting all the plants and the dirt. And we're gonna pay for those, but they're gonna get them. Goodwill, I've gotta go tomorrow and pick up all the dishes from Goodwill. So on one section of the farmer's market, we'll be doing those. But we wanted to do something kind of related to that. And we talked about painting rocks, but then we realized these kids would be walking around with acrylic on a rock. And tomorrow's supposed to be kind of cool and rainy, and I thought, probably not a good idea. Thank you, Linda Divo. And she goes, and besides that, they're heavy. We gotta carry all those rocks in. So I did some more research, and I have cherry trees. Cherry trees are one of my favorite things. I love sour cherries, but the robins love to steal the cherries. And my husband thought I was kind of brilliant because I started hanging CDs on my cherry trees. I didn't even decorate them, I just hung them, and that beautiful reflection, they keep the robins out of my cherry trees
I've
now.
seen people do it in their garden.
And they're pretty. Yes, I think they might help with deer. So we're gonna do these as our project for the kids. I ordered 1,000 of these, and so we got these little white foamies. And if you take one foamy and cut it in half, it's sticky on both sides. So you can put one at the top and one at the bottom, and you can sandwich 2 CDs together. And then you can use Sharpies to decorate. You can use a bling, but we want people to be a little cautious with the bling. It was a little bit more than we thought. I think Sally ordered $60 worth of this stuff. And it doesn't look like $60 worth, but it goes, so limited use of bling. But also, we got these beads to put the fish and this, and put a paper clip so it has something to hang it on. So we're inviting you to make one to take home, but we're hoping you'll also make us some samples. The other thing we have that would work really well, I know because I covered an entire duck in this stuff, or chicken, I did chicken, is this vinyl. You can cut this into little strips and then cut shapes, triangles, and then stick that on your CD, and it's glossy, and this sticks real well. So we're inviting you to make some of these tonight.
If you want the birds to stay out of your nest, only put a little, make sure you leave the bling, because
Yes.
that's what you
That
change the
mirroring.
birds.
Yeah, that sun hits that, and it
Yeah.
just, they're beautiful in your yard. They really sparkle in your yard. So that's our project for tonight. And then somebody told me, and that's right, because I talk so much, I probably don't listen as well as I could, but ending our meetings, I think Sally said, is there anything for the good of the order that any of you wanted to share or before I just say, okay, go to work, is there anything that we're missing out that some of you want to tell us, something you know that's going on that's art world or ideas or, oh, I will say, I'm a little, somebody's at the door now. What? The door. I will say that we're hoping we might hook some of you to come and help us. So Thursday night, we could use some help. If anybody wants to help, we're gonna be at the farmer's market, unless they cancel it because of the weather, from 5 to 8 is kind of the timeline. So this is gonna be a pretty simple project, but just having some people there to support the kids in doing it, passing out the materials, maybe tying the fish line. And then on the 14th, I did these sheets. Where did those sheets go? Those volunteer sheets. Did you guys get those? Oh, they're right here. So these sheets right here have all of our summer events. So if you guys would take these home, it has the dates for the 4 farmers markets. It has Saturday, the Laugh Pathway in Linden. I thought maybe these CDs would work at the Laugh Pathway in Linden because that's an outdoor event too. And then we do the 4th of July Freedom Festival. Kids are there. And then we do the art walk. I think they're doing a theme for Wicked this year. And they need help with the children's area on that. plus setting up our own tent for that. We have 3 artists in our tent from Fenton Arts Council. And then, the last one I have for summer is August 3rd, which is a Sunday. They do a back-to-school blast. They did it at Linden last year, I don't know, because of Fenton's construction, that might be in Linden again. But we usually do something with art there. Last year it was music. We just hired someone to do music with the kids. But so these are the volunteer sheets. And other than that, if you have something, feel free to come tell me if you want to just tell me an idea or shout it out with your friends.
I do.
You do.
I would like everybody to know that Liz Petrie is our newest board member.
Yay.
Thank you, Liz. She's
Membership
also
chair.
the membership chair. And did you send me a picture of a portrait you made?
Yes.
That was you. Okay, can you tell everybody about it?
Yeah, so earlier this year,
Oh, yeah.
you set up a thing, it was about,
So somebody does read what I send out.
yeah.
Or say I sent out.
So it was in partnership with Crime Stoppers in Flint. They got a grant through what used to be Flint Soup, which is now Doxa Development. And they've been thinking about doing it for a long time. So Crime Stoppers usually does, puts out stuff, unsolved crimes, homicides, missing people. So they had a couple families who have been impacted by these crimes and paired them with artists. So not all of the art, if you look on Crime Stoppers on Facebook, you can kind of see the stuff. Not all the art was like a portrait. I did do a portrait for a family. Some of it was a little more abstract, you know, something to commemorate, bring, you know,
Are they missing
healing.
people or?
Well, one woman, her mom was missing, and so her mom's name was Dawn, and it was this beautiful acrylic painting with flowers, sort of where the dawn is breaking. In that it's meet me at the dawn, or I'll meet you at the dawn. So her mom went missing, and so it's this sort of healing painting of like, you know, we will meet again one day. So I did a portrait, another guy did a portrait. It was a really cool project to be a part of. I think we'll probably do it again. It was just 4 or 5 artists, but it was a really cool thing, and they did reimburse for supplies, so.
And it was
great.
one of those things, we got kind of late,
Yeah.
and Annie goes, or what did I say, Annie, Sally said, I don't know why I did that, Sally, because we talk to each other every day. Sally said, it's kind of late, do you think we should do it? And you said, Sally, it kind of reminds me of, that's why I said Annie, of the project Annie did, where she paired the
The veterans with the
wounded
families.
warrior, the
Yeah,
lost,
I did.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so,
That's great.
I said, you know what, never hurts to send it out. Send it out. If an artist wants to do it, then they can do it, and you did. And so, oh my gosh, that's gorgeous.
Isn't that great?
And I'm sure that gave that family a lot of joy.
Oh, dang. Awesome.
Okay, so if anybody has any questions about these, I think it's pretty, did my sample make it in here?
And you
Linda,
thought all she did was hair.
Linda, I also think that if people hear about opportunities like calls for entries and stuff,
Yes.
if they let us know, that's something we can
Oh,
put
yeah,
out to our
okay.
members too.